to you and to those who have joined us online that we have had the inaugural session on the first day. We have covered milk and milk products, their rapid detection of adulterants. We also covered cereals, pulses, and legumes yesterday. And today is the fourth day where the emphasis is going to be on fats and oils. So for this, we have with us the expert of the day who has joined us online, Dr. Rabon Hardy, and we have Dr. Purnima, who is Associate Professor, Department of Microbiology in our college, and I would request her to kindly introduce to the House the speaker of the day.
Thank you, Sakshi. It is my immense pleasure to introduce esteemed speaker of fourth day of the workshop, Dr. Rabon Hardy. He is a past president of Association of Food Scientists and Technologists of India, CFTRI, Mysore, and renowned food technologist with a well-rounded multidisciplinary experience. He is the chairman of Western Region for AIPFA India. He is the executive committee member of PFNDAI and SEA India, an active member of various industry associations. At present, Sir is working in Morocco as head regulatory in research and development. Sir is also member of Niti Aayog Empowered Group and various other government committees and advisory boards. He is an accomplished motivational technical speaker and has delivered more than 300 seminars and lectures at different conferences all across India and abroad on food processing, quality, and food safety. Sir has various innovative programs for AFST and like Project Ashirwad, Project Avishkar, Project Power Talk, and Project Parampara. All these programs are now very popular at national level. He has written much appreciated books on food safety regulation for sectors such as oil industry, bakery industry, and retail industry. For his contribution, he has been awarded plethora of awards. To name a few, he is a recipient of Global Food Safety Award 2018 and Outstanding Regulatory Award 2018 by AIFPA India. He has also been awarded by MIT University Pune for Outstanding Personality Award 2019. He got National Food Safety E-Drive Awards 2019 by FSSAI, and he got Special Recognition Award by ITC-FCCAN. So I know everybody, all the participants are very eager to hear him out. Sir, I welcome you again and pass the mic to you. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I continue, Dr. Iram?
Yes, sir, please.
Thank you. First, would like to thanks to Professor Dr. Iram ma'am, and when she called me about this wonderful 5 days program, not only I said yes, but I also connected with my other colleagues, saying that this is a most important aspect today in India, particularly after COVID. A lot of malpractices have started because of want of earning money. Many food businesses, those who are doing wrong practices, they are undertaking some kind of adulteration, and naturally this detection of adulterants in food product is very important, and such awareness is very much required. So would like to thanks to entire team of Dr. Iram, and also would like to thanks to Nilesh and Umesh, those who are supporting Iram through the chambers. What I'm going to cover. I had a detailed discussion with Dr. Iram. Generally, if during the COVID time, as said by the professor earlier, I have conducted more than 120 webinars. Most of the webinars I have talked about food processing, food safety, I talked about startup ecosystem, quality processing, quality systems. But though I'm working in oil company as a major part of Marico is oil, and I'm also uh, participated in Codex for oils and fat for 5 times representing India. So I don't remember in last 120 webinars I have ever discussed on oil. So it is like coming back home and somebody has requested me to discuss about oils and fat. Then I asked Dr. Iram, what should I discuss on the oils and fat? Detection levels of adulterants or practice how to detect? She said no. Most of my students and the participants are generic. They would like to understand basics about oils and fat and then regulatory aspect. So please bear with me because of Dr. Iram. This presentation is little bit of basics of oil chemistry I have added, and then some basics of food safety I have added. And those who are doing their career in the oils and fat or part of the company where oils and fats are the product, I can assure you this is of your interest, and I have taken a lot of time to compile it. And thanks to Dr. RBN Prasad, who is the chair of Oils and Fat Committee. I have taken some inputs from him. And my colleague Priyanka, she has also helped me for compilation of my presentation. So, friends, I will be taking exactly 45 minutes starting now. And I can assure you, my presentations, I will ensure that if you are attending, it is of very great interest. I will ensure that you will enjoy the presentation, though it is a one-way flow, and it will not get bored by you, and you can take your pen and paper, note it down. Though this presentation will be shared to you through the organizer, you can take the photograph, but some interesting fact, interesting numbers, and some basics. Friends, total oil and fat, if you see the complete ecosystem of oil and fat, human, they consume around 75% of oil and fat. Animals, they hardly get 5% of the share. Oleochemicals, they get 10 to 15% of share, and biofuel, they get 10 to 12% of edible oil and fat share. This is very, very important. That shows that human being is so important. And you know that Ukraine and Russia war is going on, and whatever the war or the dispute is going on, that also has impacted hugely on the oil economy. I will tell you how. But this is a snapshot of total actually how the oils and fat in the globe level. This is very interesting slide. I know that it will be difficult for you to understand. I will help you to make you understand. Me and Dr. B.V. Mehta, I am the convener of Solvent Extraction Association for the uh, regulatory and legal cell from last 5 years. Solvent Extraction Association is one of the apex association of oils and fat, having 800 members. Me and Dr. Mehta has written Atmanirbhar India for oils and fat. We have written this very scientific paper a year back and presented a journey how India can help to become Atmanirbhar in oils and fat. And I have taken the snaps of the statistics from my own paper. So first I'm coming to the global area. So you should understand what is happening at global, and then we will come to what is happening at India. Globally, last year, these are the number of last year. So globally, how much we consume the oil and fat. When we talk about oil is the liquid state at room temperature, fat is solid state at room temperature. That's what the difference between oil and fat. And I'm talking about vegetable only. I'm not talking about non-vegetarian sources of fats, which are lard and other fats. I'm only talking about vegetable sources. In the globe, the total trade of the oil is around 190 million metric ton. 1 million is 10 lakhs ton. So 190 million metric ton. So you can count it, how big is the trade? 190. And the palm is the biggest, 64 million metric ton. Soya is the second number. So when we say palm, there are only two countries who produces the palm, Indonesia and Malaysia. Soya, 53. Rapeseed, sunflower, 2818. Peanut, 5. Palm kernel, again a part of the palm. Cottonseed, 4.4. So 190, closely 190 million metric ton. How much the Indian trade together, how much we consume? We consume, now come to the left part of my presentation, we consume around 23 million metric ton. 230 lakh या 240 lakh to 24 million metric ton. So I have written 22.5, but actually it's a 23. Among these 23 million metric ton, which translate to 225 lakhs metric ton, because in India we are comfortable with calling lakhs rather than million. Million is a 10 lakhs, just to have a clear confusion. Total oil demand is 22.5 million metric ton or 225 million lakhs ton. We import around 150 lakhs metric ton. That's why Honorable Prime Minister or Finance Minister all talk about Atmanirbhar, and we need to actually reduce the import dependency. And that is the big talk from last 10 years. And slowly, this import dependency is increasing only because domestic production is stabilized 75 lakhs metric ton from last. I have joined Marico 16 years back, 2006. I remember in 2006, the number of domestic production was 75 lakhs metric ton only. So in last 15 years, our domestic value of the production of the oils is same, is stagnated. And the total consumption is increasing. So the deficit is we are importing more. Today we are 70% import dependence. इसका मतलब है कि टोटल ऑयल जो हम लोग खाते हैं 230 लाख मैट्रिक टन, उसमें से 70% हम लोग इंपोर्ट करते हैं। अब दो प्रकार के ऑयल होते हैं, एक रिफाइंड ऑयल होता है और एक एक्सपेल्ड ऑयल होता है, जिसको हम लोग कच्ची घानी कहते हैं या रॉ ऑयल कहते हैं। तो टॉप रिफाइंड ऑयल, सबसे बड़ा रिफाइंड ऑयल है पाम ऑयल, जो 90 लाख मैट्रिक टन हम लोग इंपोर्ट करते हैं, 90 lakhs metric ton every year from two countries, Indonesia and Malaysia. 90 lakhs is 9 million. टोटल पाम का उत्पाद कितना है? 64 मिलियन, उसमें से हम लोग 9 मिलियन लेते हैं। सोयाबीन 50 लाख यानी 5 मिलियन। सनफ्लावर, कॉटन सीड ही हमारी देसी उत्पाद है। कॉटन सीड इज actually we produced in India. This is Indian oil. Rice bran is also one of the fantastic healthier oil, which is 9 lakhs metric ton. It could be 11 lakhs metric ton also because the number keep changing, but plus minus one. जो हम लोग कच्ची घानी कहते हैं कि एक्सपेल्ड ऑयल कहते हैं, जो रॉ ऑयल कहते हैं, जो डायरेक्टली खाया जाता है इंडिया में, सबसे बड़ा है मस्टर्ड ऑयल, जो यूपी, राजस्थान, ईस्ट पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया में सबसे उसका चलन है। आप दिल्ली में भी काफी लोग खाते होंगे। वो करीबन बनता है 20 लाख मेट्रिक टन। कोकोनट जो हम लोग साउथ इंडिया में एंजॉय करते हैं, बहुत अच्छा ऑयल है, मीडियम चेन ट्राइग्लिसराइड 60% होता है कोकोनट में, विच इज फॉर इम्यूनिटी बूस्टिंग। वो 4 लाख मेट्रिक टन बनता है सिर्फ, ओनली 4 लाख मेट्रिक टन। टोटल कंजम्पशन 230 लाख मेट्रिक टन ऑफ ऑयल्स एंड फैट। ग्राउंडनट 4, अदर 2, बस इतना ही है एक्सपेल्ड का। सो आपको पता चलेगा total refined oil contributes to 85% of the trade, and non-refined expelled oil is only 15% of the trade, and Vanaspati is also around 5% of the trade, 10 lakhs metric ton. Let me tell you, Vanaspati stagnated over last 12 years. Vanaspati ka utpad consumption is same from last 12 years, in between 8 to 10 lakhs metric ton. So when people talk to me that expelled oil is very good, but we do not produce the expelled oil, we cannot import expelled oil because of the shelf life. So there is no any other way but to consume the refined oil, which is equally healthy as in expelled oil. But some expelled oil are far better, but there should not be like competition between two. like pasteurized milk vis-a-vis the tabela milk. So nutritionally, both are equal. Let's not get confused that raw milk is very, very good and pasteurized milk removes all kind of nutrients. No, not true. Macronutrient maybe, but micro maybe, but macro protein is there in the milk. Same way the fatty acids are there. So just as a technical person, I would always say that oil is oil. We should not unnecessarily communicate and confuse as such. We can start using the expelled oil and become a Atmanirbhar. It is not possible. I hope this is clear. Let me tell you, total consumption of the oil in India is 17 kg per person. If we consider the population of 130 crore. If we are 140 crore, then we become 16 kg per person per year. What is the national average? 17. What is the international average? 23. So we are less oil and fat consuming country. And US and Canada and UK, they consume more than 28. So they are close to double than us. Why? Because there are two kind of oils we consume, direct oil, indirect oil. जो हम लोग डायरेक्ट खाते हैं और जो इनडायरेक्ट अपने फूड में आता है, which is like potato chips, kurkure, biscuits, you name the product. There is a fat or oil. I hope this is clear because I know that many people don't understand the statistics, but I try to help to build the story before I enter into the chemistry. I just want one comment from the participants. If you're okay, I move to the next. Iram Rao, ye theek hai? Can somebody comment? Hello? Organizer? Is this okay? Dr. Iram?
Yes, in the chat it says okay.
Okay.
It's going great. Thank you.
Okay, I got it. I got it. Thank you. Now, what is a food? Food contains basically macronutrient and micronutrient. What are those macronutrients? Protein, carbohydrate, fats, and for the total energy. Then we also talk about fiber in a macro or micronutrients, minerals and vitamins, and water. So total food is made of these total ingredients. Interestingly, only oil and fat can give you 9 calories per gram. Look at the power of the oil and fat. 9 calories per gram. How much calorie comes from protein and carbohydrate? Only 4. So the people who do a lot of exercise or they do some exert work like pulling up the rickshaw, working in the farm, or fighting the batter on the ground, they require dense food and it only comes with the oil and fat. Because in 1 gram, the power is 9 calories vis-a-vis 1 gram of protein only gives you 4 calories. So oil and fat are essential part and parcel of the diet. Do not ever think about reducing oil and fat below the level of threshold because oil and fats are very important part of your diet which carries all the oil soluble vitamins and it also work as for your powerhouse of energy. How much oil is required per person? It says that WHO and ICMR, both number are same. They say that 25 to 30% of total calorie must be come from oils. Total calorie का अगर हम लोग 1500 कैलोरी समझते हैं sedentary work or 2000 calories the person who is very very active. So it comes to अगर 1500 पकड़ेंगे तो it comes to 55 gram. अगर 2000 calories पकड़ेंगे per day, it is 65 gram. Is the total requirement of oil and fats. Now, 50 to 65 is a big range, depending on your total calorie intake. Now, 50% of that oil and fat comes directly, and indirectly is hidden oil and fat. So, how much oil we consume? Say 60 gram. So, 30 gram has to come direct, and 30 gram indirect. Indirect means You consume so many legumes, you consume so many food which also contains oil and fat, that become indirect. And what direct you add into your diet, like cooking oil, or you have various dishes, that is the oil which you directly use, which you use at the home. What is a thumb rule? How much one should eat? So if you have 4 members in a family, if you consider 30 gram a day into 30 days, 900 gram, which is a 1 liter. If you are a 4 member, total oil consumption you restrict to 4 liter a month, or per person 1 liter oil. That is the recommended dose or average, and that will keep you active. So this is the requirement, and below that you should not go. Above also, if you go, then it will show in your belly fat. That is also a problem. And let me tell you, digestion of oil is very, very difficult. You have to do the exercise, which is necessary, and exercise is must. So oils and fat, mystery of oils and fat, as I told you, oil is liquid at room temperature and fat is solid at room temperature. That's it. किसको oil कहना है, किसको fat कहना है. palm steering को हम लोग semi oil कहते हैं, semi fat कहते हैं, क्योंकि वो half is oil, half is fat. Coconut during winter, semi oil है, semi fat है. But soybean, sunflower, safflower, all are oil at room temperature. Oil is a fantastic carrier. It has such a great virtues. It gives you it is a storehouse of the energy. It works as an insulator, and it is like a cushion, because it heat regulates to protect the heart, liver, and other vital organs. So do not stop consuming the oil on some kind of nutritionists who are not the nutritionists, they are certified nutritionists, so called, and they just say that stop oils. Let me tell you, you should look at the holistic diet. Do not stop consuming any of the product completely, be it the protein or fat or carbohydrates. Everything is required in a quantity as per the expert. You should believe in the nutritionists, those who are certified professionally by doing the course and registered nutritionist or dietitians. Completed 3 years or 4 years of degree course. They are the only registered. Do not believe in these 2 months, this WhatsApp University people or the Google University people, those who called, I always say that turn beautician into the nutritionist. They are most dangerous because they are just good in English, no content. So these are the virtues of the oil and fat and why we should consume. So it is very important. We should consume this. The invisible fat, which I said that, how we consume the invisible fat, which is a 30 gram per day, through your coconut, if you are eating coconut, or chutneys, groundnut, almond, papad, pickle, bakery items like biscuit, cakes. Let me tell you, in the biscuit, up to 40% of oil is there or fat is there. Sweet snacks, and again, the fat comes from the milk also. So I'm only talking about vegetable fat, but then there is also animal fat. Animal fat means if you eat non-vegetarian, the fat will come. If you are vegetarian, but if you are taking a milk item, the fat will come. So that also contribute. Overall, your oil and fats, if you put it more than 65 gram per day, naturally there will be tendency to deposit. And naturally the deposition, if you do not exert, because it contains 9 calories, it will show on your belly fat. So that is not good. Definitely it's not good. So one has to exercise. Daily half an hour walking, or short running, or doing some rigorous exercise of half an hour. आधा घंटा exercise करना बहुत जरूरी है सबके लिए. And I request you, we always say that having a good food is not the completeness. Having exercise in your daily routine is most important. So basically oil and fats, functional properties for the No food product can be produced without oil because the taste is the most important. Just imagine Mary biscuit and glucose biscuit. Kids will love glucose biscuit because it contains more fat. Kids will love cookies over the normal biscuit because it contains more fat, because fat gives you the good taste. Samosa, which you like, kachori, which you like, contain 28% of fat. So apart from the taste, it also gives you the mouthfeel. All ice cream contains fat. That's why it melt in your uh, actually mouth, and it gives you the mouthfulness. It gives the satiety. It gives you the feeling of fullness. It also has high antioxidant content, more oxidative stability, balanced fatty acid composition in oils and fat. So these are the benefits why we consume oils and fat. Basic chemistry, fat is nothing but individual is fatty acid, which is a triglyceride, diglyceride, monoglyceride, and major component of oil is a triglyceride. And oil is made up of three basically fatty acid: monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, and saturated. So no oil has only one type of fatty acid. It has three type of fatty acid: mono, poly, and saturated. Oil which has more saturated fatty acids, we consider that is uh, like it tends to solidify at the lower temperature, namely coconut and palm. And other oils are mufa oil or poof oil. All oils are good because जैसे हम लोग घर में एक सब्जी नहीं खाते हैं, कभी पोटैटो खाएंगे, कभी कद्दू खाएंगे, कभी ओनियन की सब्जी खाएंगे, टोमेटो की सब्जी खाएंगे, या भिंडी की सब्जी खाएंगे. You don't eat only potato every day. So oil also is very important. You should rotate or use the blend oil, because same type of fatty acid should not go to your body. You have to rotate. You have to change the oil so that different fatty acid will go into your body. So basically, oil contains total above 95%, 97% of the fatty matter. But particularly in crude rice bran oil, it contains plethora of nutrients which are non-fatty matter, which are oryzanol, glossy phospholipids, then phytosterols. It contains major sterols, tocopherols, which are vitamin E. So just want to highlight that though oil is a fatty matter, basically 98% fatty matter, but non-fatty matter contains a lot of micronutrient. As I said that oil has three fatty acids: saturate, monounsaturated, and polyunsaturated. Solid at room temperature, high in saturate, and it has a tendency to raise the blood sugar, blood cholesterol also. And typical oils which contains saturate is palm oil 16, C16. But in coconut, though it is a saturate, let me tell you, though it comes technically saturate, but it is C12, which is a borderline saturate, which is a monounsaturated and saturate ke beech mein hai. So coconut, if I ask many of the nutritionists, they will say coconut is, though it is technically saturated, but it is a borderline case, it is on monounsaturated. So that's why it's good. So the structure of the coconut, though it's fall in saturation, 90% saturated oil, but it's a borderline which resembles like a olive oil chemistry actually. That's why the coconut, after having so much of coconut oil in South India, they don't put on weight. That is the worth of coconut. So as you know, the oil contains different type of fatty acid: caprioic, caprylic, capric, lauric, mystric, palmitic, stearic, arachidic, bayernic, and ligonzeric. So basically, these are the type of fatty acid. You must have learned this during your degree course. And lauric acid, and basically palmitic acid. So these are the very, very critical acids for the what we talked about, the saturate, and these are the chemical formula and molecular weight. Now, monounsaturated fatty acid, as I said that there are three kind of fatty acid: monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, and saturated. In monounsaturated, which we call as a MUFA, Monounsaturated MUFA, polyunsaturated PUFA, and saturated SAFA. Monounsaturated is comprising of mistrolic acid, palmitoleic acid, oleic acid, 18-1, and also monounsaturated is 18-1. Oleic acid is very, very important. So, for example, sunflower seed oil, it is having a monounsaturated also, and one breed of the sunflower is also linoleic acid, which goes into the PUFA oil. Then there is a polyunsaturated oil. Polyunsaturated is essentially is made from linolenic and linoleic acid. So 18-2 and 18-3. They are the most important thing. Polyunsaturated is the most important oil which we call as omega-3 because it has omega-3 and omega-6 family. And omega-3 is a highly antioxidant property, and it is very good for heart, very good for reduction of cholesterol. And most of the claims on the oil comes from the polyunsaturated. I hope you are getting it. If you have any query, please raise your hand or put your comment on the chat box. So polyunsaturated fatty acids, the three fatty acids are important: linoleic, linolenic, and ileostearic. So these are the ALA which we talked about, linolenic, and omega-3 is the today most important: flaxseed oil, soybean oil, mustard oil. These are the basically omega-3 fatty acid oils. So these are the chemical formulas of the different PUFA oil: linoleic acid, alpha linoleic acid, gamma linoleic acid, and so forth. And if you see, it's a double bond at the C15, C12, C9. And this is again a chemistry of how the PUFA metabolizes and how it helps basically conversion of ALA to DHA, because the body consumes the DHA. We provide ALA through the vegetable fat, but body doesn't recognize the ALA. It converts into the DHA. So this is the chemistry of the conversion of ALA to DHA, and 1.5 gram of ALA is required per day for any good claim. This is also very important slide to understand which oil contains what. So on the left hand side, you will get the common oil names: groundnut, rice bran, mustard, olive, sunflower, safflower, soybean, sesame, cottonseed, palm, coconut, and bean seed. How much it contains saturate and how much it contains monounsaturated and how much it contains polyunsaturated. So I will just take one example: rice bran oil. It contains 20% of saturate, 45% of monounsaturated, and closely 33 or 32 of polyunsaturated. So this will give you, WHO has given the ratio of 1:1.5 to 1.5, but let me tell you, God has not created any tailored oil which is having all balanced fatty acid. It is not possible. And that's why rotation of the oil is important or blending of the oil is important. It is in your hand. But God has not given any single oil. No, nobody can say कि my oil is the best or my oil is contains everything, because God has not created. किसी को मोनो दे दिया, किसी को पॉली दे दिया, किसी को सैचुरेट दे दिया. So just have a look at this slide. If you have any question, please put it in your chat box. At the end of our seminar, I will answer all the questions. Let me tell you, polyunsaturated में omega-6 भी होता है, omega-3 भी होता है. So omega-3 is basically part of the polyunsaturated. I hope this is clear. Somebody has raised the hand. So any question? So who has raised the hand?
So we can take questions at the end, maybe.
At the end, okay. Please put your question. Those who have raised the hand, please put the question in the chat box. I will help you to resolve this. So generally, there is a belief that cholesterol is increased by the oil, and then no vegetable oil will ever have a cholesterol. It has a phytosterol. There are two kinds of sterols. One is a cholesterol, which is an animal-based, including milk, and one is a vegetable-based, which is a phytosterol. And it is also myth that all the saturates are bad. No, Saturate is also required, as I explained you in the coconut. Saturates are there. So, but it is required. The problem with the oils and fat, we consume and we don't exert, we don't do the exercise. That is the problem. If you consume but you do the exercise, oils and fats are very good up to 60 gram per day. After that, if you do not exercise, naturally it will deposit. So, like water also, if you consume water every day in a moderate quantity of 4 liters a day, it's okay. But if you consume 20 liters a day, there will be kidney failure. So any food items, if you're not consuming in a portion, there will be a problem. And as I said that balanced fatty acids are important holistically. One should not only target like saturates are bad and I only want monounsaturated. No, it doesn't come in that way. And the oil which is good in saturate is more stable. That's why all the food products which are fried in the hotel, why the palm oil is so famous? Because the stability of the product which is made after frying. You can keep the fried item for overnight or one day, there is no oxidation. But if you fry the product in the monounsaturated oil or polyunsaturated oil, there will be oxidation of the oil and the rancidity will increase post fry. Now, Vanaspati is, as I told you, in last 12 years, 13 years, Vanaspati total trade is on the decline mode. Earlier, we used to consume Vanaspati as a target or as a parallel to the ghee because it resembles like a ghee. But because of the trans fatty acid, it used to contain 20 to 40% trans fatty acid. Now, now it has reduced to 2% by FSSI by after 2022. This is one of the, let me put it on record. FSSI and industry and all the stakeholders together, they took a challenge of reducing the Vanaspati and oils and fat, trans fatty acid from, it used to be one time in Vanaspati 20 to 40% because of half hydrogenation. Now it has reduced to 2%. And this is the biggest achievement. And we should congratulate to the industry and FSSI and specifically FSSI because they aimed it and systematic decrease in the trans fatty acid first to 5%, then to 3%, and now it's 2% by 23. Now there is a system of making trans-free Vanaspati because the palm steering is allowed, and then just you do the intensification. Those who are the oil chemist or from the oil industry, you know that what is intensification. You take the oil and the palm steering or coconut fraction and you blend it through the intensification process. You produce the trans-free Vanaspati. Let me tell you what is this trans fatty acid. I have a special lecture on this, but just to tell you, trans fatty acid is something which gets generated at higher temperature of 250 degree and above. In our refining, deodorization temperature goes up to 240 to 45. In your home, nowhere, किसी के घर में, nowhere in the home, trans will get generated at the frying pan because your frying temperature goes maximum up to 140, 150, 160 maximum. So do not worry, the trans will get generated. Trans only get generated because of the hydrogenation, which is in Vanaspati. In refining, if your temperature of the deodorization goes above 250 degrees Celsius. So do not worry about the trans fatty acid. We are much safer in the trans fatty acid and oils and fat. So I always use the word risk assessment. So there is no risk of trans fatty acid. There may be hazard of trans fatty acid, but the exposure of the hazard is very less in context of India. And that way, trans fatty acid which we consume is only through oils and fat, and as such, we do not consume non-vegetarian product much, which also has a trans fatty acid. So India or milk product. So we do not consume the like what westernized people do. They eat a lot of non-vegetarian and their exposure of trans is more than us. So we are that way very safe. So this is also very interesting. Minor components. I talked about fatty acid, monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, saturate. What are the minor components of the oil? Which is the real treasure of the oil? Like rapeseed oil, there is a sterol and tocopherol. Soybean oil, it contains tocopherol, sterol, tritempene, and squalene. Palm, tocopheranol, tocopherol, carotenoids. Sesame oil, tocopherol, sesaminol, sesame, and sterols. Rice bran is a powerhouse of minor ingredients, minor nutrients, amazing oil, tocotrienol, oryzanol, phytosterol, sterol, sterile esters, and squalene, which are all active antioxidants, and it helps not only for reduction of cholesterol, but work on plethora of your what happening in our body. There is a free radical. Why the disease happened to us? Because of the free radical contents increases, and wherever it increases, naturally the free radical needs to get actually it is the radical which requires basically energy to neutralize, and antioxidant can neutralize that in short. So free radicals needs to get satisfied with antioxidants. That's why we say that antioxidants are good. During the entire COVID time, you must have seen that people have asked vitamin C to be taken, vitamin D to be taken. What is vitamin C? Is antioxidant. And if you have a natural antioxidant in your body in form of different like oryzanol, phytosterols, or sterols, tocotrienol, tocopherol, these are natural antioxidants. They are known by the body, and it is better than artificial antioxidants. Olive oil also is a very good oil which contains a lot of micronutrients like hydroxysterols, eleuropine, phenolic compounds, and DAPP activity of the antioxidant property of the olive oil is far, far better. Avocado, shea butter, sunflower. There are a lot of value-added products from the processing byproducts like oil chemistry, and it's a very developed industry, and there are so many byproducts which actually forms like gums, soap stock, crude waxes, paint or bleaching earth, and deodorized distillates. These are also byproduct of the oil refinery. For interested members, this can be a good slide for you. I want to emphasize on the oryzanol because most of the students are from the nutrition background and food technology background. Oryzanol is a natural antioxidant, only come from the rice bran oil. Let me tell you why rice bran oil. If you see our tradition of marriage, we use as a akshada the rice. Even our yagya during yajnakarya and ahuti, you rice only. Why rice? Because when rice burns and the outer layer of rice contains oryzanol and it goes into the fumes, the oryzanol goes into the entire in the air, and that is the reason why rice is used, because it contains oryzanol, and rice bran oil contains oryzanol because the rice bran oil forms from the rice bran, which is outer layer of the rice grain. It has a fantastic antioxidant property. It is a natural antioxidant. It is a hypocholesterolemic activity, prevents lipid peroxidation, it reduction of wrinkling. If you want to have a good skin, oryzanol is the best. There are our A.R. Sharma sir who has formed the capsules of the oryzanol. Melanin formation for the becoming your hair darker, prevent discoloration of nails, correct nervous system and disorders, and many more. A lot of research is going on. I just want to emphasize that oryzanol is one of the wonderful antioxidants and many properties. How oryzanol looks, this is the chemical mixture of the oryzanol, and then wonderful vitamin E, the tocotrienol, tocopherols, and this is also strong antioxidants. And then in rice bran oil or in oil which contains oryzanol, the oil which contains oryzanol and vitamin E, it has a synergistic effect. So that is also very good for you're covering the antioxidants. Then phytosterols are also present in many oils, which actually they are also strong antioxidants and they are also required for the good health. Sterile esters in the rice bran oil, that is also the. I've actually presented a paper in Japan some 5 years back on International Rice Bran Conference, and I was amazed to see in Japan there is different nutraceuticals and fat, and all those actually sterols, esters, phytosterols, and oryzanols, and they sell to entire world. So I hope our industry also come out with such kind of products which are nutritionally good and nutraceutically also good. Squalene is also used in the cosmetic and pharmaceutical for the reduction of cholesterol and cancer therapy. The squalene is used, which is a part of our rice bran oil. Now, phenolic compounds, as I mentioned you in the mustard oil, in the olive oil, the phenolic compounds are there. They are also very good for the antioxidant and useful for the health benefit. Beta carotene, and as we know that palm oil is rich in the beta carotene, and they are also very good source of antioxidant. Various various nutraceuticals can be obtained, and I request those who are doing their masters or PhDs, please look into this aspect of the oil chemistry and nutraceuticals which are present in the natural oils: oryzanol, lecithin, tocopherol, sterol, stanol, octanols, ALA, GLA, CLA, EPA, DHA, which can be extracted from the oil and structured lipid. Now I will just spend my 5 minutes. Just wanted to clear the myth, like whether the refining is good, because this question comes to me so many times. Ki refining is with some 23 chemicals and refining is bad for health. Let me tell you, refine is approved by all the 230 countries in the world and approved by FSSAI in India. It is a part and parcel of FSSAI. It is a complete safe process. In oil and fat ecosystem, there are four kind of oil. That day I was explaining to one of my colleague, her name is Binu and Priyanka, and then I realized that people do not, I mean, like expert also get confused what are these oils. So let me tell you, the first is a crude oil. Crude oil is the oil which is extracted using the any of the solvent extraction process. So soybean crude oil or this rice bran crude oil, any crude oil which is getting extracted through the solvent. Because of presence of solvent, and hexane is a solvent which is a safe, this is called as a crude oil. Now crude oil cannot be consumed directly, so it is a non-edible oil. But there are some oils which can be directly consumed, though they are in the raw form. They are called as a expelled oil or raw oil, namely coconut. कोकोनट को आप प्रेस करके ऑयल निकाल सकते हो. आलमंड डायरेक्टली आप प्रेस करके ऑयल निकाल सकते हो. Then sunflower, safflower, you can directly expel and consume, but they are raw oil. It contains up to 4% of acidity or acid value, and they can be consumed or they can go for refining. So refining comes directly crude oil you take for refining, or expelled oil also can be refined. As I explained on the slide number 1, 85% of the total trade is of refined in India. Expelled oils are there, they are good, and sometimes they are not good also because it contains not a lot of anti-nutritional properties which requires to be refined. And some oil cannot be expelled, like soybean, like rice bran, like cotton seed. It cannot be expelled. Then there are some virgin oils, like in coconut we call virgin oil. So virgin oils are basically in the coconut or in olive oil. The virgin oil is from the first expelled lot is a virgin oil. In coconut, from the kernel of the coconut, which comes as a virgin, and copra, which we call it the expelled oil. So these are the four types of oil. I hope you are clear on the doubt. And during the processing, there is a steps in the refining is that extraction of oil, filtration, degumming, chemical or physical refining. There are two kinds of refining. Chemical means using NaOH, and physical. And now the enzymes are also being allowed to use. Bleaching, waxing, deodorization, which I was saying the 240-degree temperature jahan jata hai, maximum temperature goes in the deodorization. And after deodorization, then you do the deacidification and then winterization and refining. These are the 7 steps of refining. So some oils can use without refining. Don't get confused. It is absolutely safe to use such oils like groundnut, sesame, mustard, safflower, linseed. And there are some oils which can be refined, like or should be refined. Sunflower, soybean, cottonseed, corn, rice bran. They cannot be expelled because the oil content is so less. It cannot be expelled. Refining is a safe process. I am not going into the detail. It rather removes all kind of anti-nutritional factors. So if somebody, I have 2-3 seminars on refining some 3 years back. I give the example, the water. This water comes to the your house after doing the different kind of chemical treatment. Because I was working with Coca-Cola, I know that what kind of chemicals are used in water, and then you have to use the flocculants to settle down all, and then you have to use the chlorine to remove the microflora. And those chemicals are used, but that doesn't mean that your water contains all the chemical. So it is a myth. Chemicals are the processing aid, and they are required there, they get removed. So not to worry, continue using your oil, but only in the quantity what is prescribed. Loose oil is something bad. Most of the dangerous part of the India is that we consume 30% of loose oil, which can have adulteration, and that is the most worry. Sale of loose oil is banned by the government, but still the practice is going on. Every oil has its own signature. Every oil is known for some nutraceutical property and some fatty acid property. So it is there. No oil God has created with full of 100%. So it is always good to rotate, or you actually make a multi-source oil, multi-blend oil to get you the benefit of two. Now coming to the regulatory requirement. India consumes 23 million metric ton of oil, and it is very important to have a regulatory requirement. And regulatory requirement of the oils and fat is Codex and FSSI in India. And we have a hydrogenated oil, we have edible oil, intensification fat, partially hydrogenated, and margarine and fat spread. These are the various regulations for oils and fat. On the oils and fat, we have a vertical standard for namely from coconut, virgin coconut oil, up to different oils, almond oil. I will not repeat all the names which are mentioned. You can go through that. So up to bakery shortening. So there are oils and fat, total 50 named oil and fats. Every monogram is given or vertical standards are given. Generally, the specification of the oils are given on refractive index, sap value, iodine value. Iodine value is a signature of the oil. If iodine value is above that signature, means oil may be adulterated with something or mixed with something. Unsufferable matter acid value gives you the freshness of the oil. What is the content of the free fatty acid? Then Bailey test, argemone oil. Presence of argemone oil should be nil. Test of melting point, cloud point, flash point, Polensic value, residual solvent should be less than 5 ppm in case of the oil, peroxide value. So I will just come to the fortification is very, very good part, because more refined oils are mandated to fortify in India for vitamin A and vitamin D, quantifying 4.5 and 25 IU. So as we know that Indians are actually deficient in the vitamin A and D, and as such we don't go out, and then naturally vitamin D is less, and oils are very good carrier of vitamin A and D. That's why it is mandated in India. And you will see the F plus logo on many oil which are refined oil. Natural, normal, and people also add some kind of adulterant into the oil. This is the last slide for my presentation. And what can go wrong in your oils and which you need to get detected. Argemone seed, which can come because of the chipness, and it generally resembles like a mustard. That's why it goes into the mustard. And in 1982 there were some death also happened because of argemone oil consumption. Mineral oil also goes into the various oil, and it can actually cause the cancer. TPC, total polar compound, not TCP, TPC, total polar compound. If it get formed because of the frying, double frying, and if it get formed in the oil after having more than 7-8 heating, naturally that number is 25 now, and you have to, that's why top up the oil or throw that oil to the Ruko moment, or do not use the again and again that black oil. Rainseed oil, mixed oil, which you add, Then there are some additives which are not allowed, which you are adding beyond the safe limit, and excessive solvent residues. The most biggest adulterant is the cheap oil, like palm is getting added into the coconut, and since the density of the oil is same, most of the oil is same, it get mixed so fast, and the refined oil color is also same. That is the biggest adulterant. And as I said, in the loose oil cell, you will end up adding 40 to 50% of other oil, which is a cheap oil. That is the biggest issue. These are my credentials. If anybody is interested to connect with me, you are most welcome. I have given my mobile number. I'm active on the WhatsApp, and you can write to me on email or media also. And I will be very happy to clarify your doubts if you have. And this presentation will be shared to you through the organizers. And thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are audible. Actually, this is the course of one day, and I have actually compassed that one day into the 1 hour.
Subject students about fats and oils. So let's take the question answers now. Anybody has questions here?
Ma'am, if you allow me, there are some questions on the chat box. Can I answer those first? Can I?
Yes, sure.
Okay, the first question is how I can, the oil adulteration can be prevented. So let me tell you, you go to the authentic source or go for the branded oil. That is the only area where branded oil, at least since they have a FSSAI logo, there is less kind of chances of adulteration. Do not buy loose oil. That will be the answer which I want to give. Also, the students, please, we will give you one magic box which is made by FSSAI, their detection of the oils and fat adulteration kit, and you can actually do some experiment. Then the question is that what is your view about palm oil and palmolene oil? As I said, no oil is bad oil, no oil is very good oil. Oil is oil. It depends on the fatty acid and depending on the use. Palm is very good for the friability, and since we are actually import dependent country for the oil is concerned, and naturally you cannot stop palm because that is the cheapest source. If you just stop the palm oil in India, your oil prices will rise up to 500 rupees a liter, which is just not possible. So my comment on the palm.
Shall we take the next question?
There is some connectivity issue.
For the stimulants detection of tocotriene. Yes, there are. Yes, if this Mansi Sen has asked this question, you connect with the Dr. Iram, she will explain you. I think these are the only. Amu Chaudhary has asked, sir, can a gossip oil impact our health and how does it impact it? The Aditi Paste has asked, most of the underprivileged population use loose oil due to its low cost. And what is your take? Person today is buying shampoo of one sachet of shampoo, one small sachet of purchase the oil in.
Any questions here? Please, I'll ask the question then.
Awareness is important. value-added product from palm, there are various nutraceutical products can be, as I mentioned you on my slide number 23, there are various nutraceutical properties of the palm, particularly red palm oil, phenolic compounds. Is there any qualitative analyzer of TFA in the? Yes, there is. Total fatty matter, yes. Is the beneficial to consume oil by mixing two or? Yes. At home, you can mix the two oils depending on your choices, or there are blends available. You can use that. But officially, only blend of 2 is allowed in India, and third blend of omega-3 is allowed up to 5% of percent. Mustard oil is a very fantastic oil, and since it is a darker oil, a lot of people add some other oil, a cheaper oil, and that become a adulteration. But FSSI is conducting a lot of taste and some kind of rates. I hope that will stop this kind of adulteration. And cold press oils are naturally better than refined oil. As I mentioned, yes, cold press oil has some kind of phenolic compounds more than refined oil naturally. So they are better if you can consume, but
Hello.
see, it is the question is like, can I shift from potato sabji to bhendi sabji? It is ability and your economy. Oil, I have given you all the fatty matter of the oil. Ensure economically different zones, as some of the states consume as low as 7 kg per year, and some states are consuming 25 kg per year. Gujarat and particularly Rajasthan consume 25 kg of oil per year, and some of the Bihar and Jharkhand consumes as less as 8 kg per year. So yes, there is economics is involved. Thank you. I think these are the only questions. Thanks for giving opportunity. Any questions from the girls and boys, those who are sitting beautifully in that hall and are really missing that? I should have been there physically.
Before moving further, for online audience, I have an announcement. Tomorrow we'll be starting at 10 a.m. sharp. So please join at 10 a.m. I have put the link in the comment section. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay. So are there any questions of blind students or participants who are sitting here? Please come here. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
I am Yashwant. And so you said that loose oils are banned. What is the alternate economic standpoint? Many Indians would not go for packaged items. What would be the alternative?
Shall I repeat the
Sure,
question?
can
Okay. So I repeat the question. So the student is asking that some people are tend to use the open, oils which are not packed. So what are the alternatives and what is the solution so that they could, prevent from the adulteration in the loose oil that are available in the market?
I didn't get the question. Can you repeat, because it's a lot of echo is happening, or you write it?
Okay, sir, I'll just write.
Basically, you write because echo is coming. I'm not able to hear.
Sure. Where is it?
Yes, ma'am. I told, okay, I'm repeating. Okay, basically, loose oil sale, we had to ban it because it is India government has banned it. So my take on this, shift to the packed oil, whatever the company you can afford to, shift to the packed oil, eat safe oil rather than unsafe oil, because safety is more important. If you go for the loose oil, which is the cheaper, but you will end up more expenses on your medicine rather than the then, so that is the danger. So shift to the packed oil, whatever is the brand, whatever is the company, it's okay, but you shift to the packed oil. Thank you for asking this question. Shoni George, thank you.
Sir? Thank you so much, sir. Sir, am I audible now?
You are
Yes.
audible.
Okay. So just on behalf of everybody, any question, any other questions are there? No? Okay, so we'll, you have any? Okay. So Dr. Sakshi has one question.
So we
Yeah,
have
Dr.
heard
Sakshi.
enough about PUFA and the richness of PUFA in linseed or flaxseed oils. So, so the question is, like, we generally many times roast it so as to make it more palatable. What happens to the PUFA that we are, because of which we are wanting to consume flaxseed?
Basically, flaxseed is not meant for frying because flaxseed contains closely 52% of omega-3, which is a PUFA, and naturally it is tend to oxidize very fast. The product which you are making after frying of flaxseed oil will naturally will get oxidized fast and it will have a rancid effect. So I would say that if you want to consume flaxseed oil, store the flaxseed oil at below 20 degrees Celsius. First thing, always put in an amber color bottle because it should not be oxidized. If you want a health benefit of the flaxseed, otherwise, if you want
Network is.
to use like frying the virgin olive oil, if you want to fry, then there is a olive oil which is actually the refined olive oil. You do that, but taking the kind of flaxseed oil, it has to be used for top-up application.
There might be some issue at Prabodh sir's end.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anybody has a question? Okay, come, Navdeep, right?
Ma'am, he can speak.
Ma'am, you can speak. I can put in the chat box.
Just speak.
Hello, myself. I'm from BCS College. My question is, how can a person check whether the edible oil is adulterated or not without any advanced tooling?
So I think Dr. Rabon Hardy has got disconnected.
Yeah.
But to answer video of this. Sir, shall I repeat the question? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. I'm putting the question in chat box. There is some internet issue.
Okay. Actually, at home it is very difficult to check, but only organoleptically you can check with the some kind of. But then there is a magic box, Dr. Iram, which is given by the FSSAI. And if you get that box and with use of some basic adulteration kit, you can find out. And unfortunately, I have not covered that topic, but that could be the 1 hour session. And there are some 7 tests which you can use basic chemicals. And I would share the detail of the DART book. And definitely please share to the person who has asked this question, Dr. Shailaja Jain. This is basically the DART book, and then you can use that techniques and use at home.
So, Prabhu, I think we don't have any more questions. Any more questions, please?
Hello?
So thank you so much. I think no, we don't have any questions. Diksha, please check any questions online.
Yes, ma'am. I think online questions are covered.
There's some questions. Please read them out.
I think Dr. Iram.
All right. So with regard to the magic box, yes, sir.
No, I'm saying I think
So
considering the
regarding
time, I
magic box,
don't want to take your time and the students' time. I hope you enjoyed the session. As I promise you, it would be informative and you can pass these slides to everyone. It will be wonderful. Anybody has any question, you always can write to me on the email given, and you can connect with Dr. Iram and she will able to resolve those. And I am really thankful, Dr. Iram. It was wonderful. And next time you should call me physically, and that will be of more interactive in person. Thank you.
right. With that, I'd like to thank you formally, Dr. Rabon Hardy, for sparing your time to be with us in this 5-day national workshop on rapid detection of adulterants, which is today focusing on pipeline. May I remind you that the purpose is to basically clear your doubts. And the questions which have been asked over here, we are going to demonstrate some of the rapid tests, which you are able to do very easily. But we always give a statutory warning that where the acids or some kind of chemicals which are very, very strong in nature, we would request you not to use them unless you're a professional. You may seek help. We have talked about the food safety on wheels. That is an arrangement by FSSAI that in your own area, you can reach out to the FSO, that is the food safety officer. And sometimes they do have these camps around Diwali and some particular seasons where they pick up samples and they will do it for free of charge. In other cases where you think that the attention needs immediate, the product needs immediate attention, in that case, you can walk into any laboratory, make sure that it is an authorized laboratory, NABL certified. And if the adulterants are positive over there, then you can send the sample with the report to FSSAI. They will reimburse all the money. All right. So, and Dr. Prabhu, just to point out regarding the magic box, thank you so much. You had offered for the magic box, but as on date, the production has stopped because of the COVID. FSSAI, I had approached them, but what we intend to do is that probably at a later stage, have a community outreach program in the community, because we've already sensitized students of our own colleges in Delhi and NCR and otherwise across the country who have joined us. We will do this outreach activity where we'll be able to do this hand holding. Our intent was to actually reach out to our own students and impart training to them. So now they are trainers who will be able to go forward and train many more people here. And as usual, Dr. Prabhu, I think your presentation was without doubt very, very meaningful. I think we all learned so much from that. And consumer awareness is the key, right? And we have to read labels. It's always better to buy packaged foods. It is kind of a myth that packaged foods are expensive, maybe a penny or a rupee more. But imagine the amount of risk which you are taking consuming foods which are loose. And that is why I think students would agree to me that when we eat all the time out, maybe in a canteen or a cafeteria or some place or even on a roadside, you go back home the same evening or probably after some time, with a stomach upset, or probably you have a little kind of discomfort in the throat, and you are then sipping tea and coffee, which is again not good for you because all those nutrients will never be absorbed. So I think there is a saying, penny wise and pound foolish, and COVID has taught us one thing, that investment in health is the most important thing. right? So you're saving that 1 rupee here and there, you're asking for chocolate for yourself. Of course, yes, it's a very personal decision. I can understand wholesale dealers where they're dealing in wholesale amounts have to go to these particular people. But again, there are voluntary certifications. We have spoken about BIS, EGMARK, etc. Right? So my request to everybody would be that please become Jagrut Grahak, learn to read labels, learn to ask questions, because the market is demand driven. Like Mr. Pavan Agrawalji said the other day, if you stop buying a commodity from a shop which you think is not doing justice to the quality, I'm sure he will stop selling that. It's only because those profit margins that we go and buy. That is why encouraging. So we all are responsible, and as we always say, the is their business. Shall I be in a state of mind to go out into the very larger society? So, Dr. Prabodh, no words to really thank you. You have been very forthcoming. E-Pathshala has happened because of this connect. I again take this opportunity to thank Dr. Nilesh. Diksha, I have been troubling her morning, evening, night. I'm so sorry for that. But this entire thing, which is in the hybrid mode, is a technological challenge for us. And I continue to support everybody who's involved with this particular workshop, particularly the participants without whom this workshop is meaningless. And similarly, all those people who joined us, the faculty members, scientists, researchers, students, even laymen who are joining us on the platform. I am so much. We continue with our demonstration of fats over oil today. And may I request Team Bhaskaracharya, Dr. Sakshi Khurana, with her students to kindly begin with the demonstration. And Diksha will take this off on the virtual platform also. Thank you, sir, once again. And hope we continue this journey and have you over in person very soon.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Rajeshi, I request you to play the video. And online audience, important announcement. Tomorrow the session will start at 10 a.m. So you can join with the same link.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sakshi Khurana, Department of Food Technology, Bhaskaracharya College of Applied Sciences. मेरे साथ
Can you please pause? Yes, start from the beginning and make it full screen.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sakshi Khurana, Department of Food Technology, Bhaskaracharya College of Applied Sciences. मेरे साथ दो students हैं.
नमस्ते, मैं ईशा विश्रांत, थर्ड ईयर फूड टेक की स्टूडेंट हूँ. नमस्ते, मैं लविका पिपलानी, दूसरे वर्ष फूड टेक्नोलॉजी की स्टूडेंट हूँ.
So today we have all gathered here to check for the various adulterants that can be added in fats and oils. Fats and oils यानी कि घी या तेल में तरह तरह के मिलावटें की जा सकती हैं. एडल्ट्रेंट्स ऐड किए जा सकते हैं, जैसे कि उसमें स्टार्च ऐड किया जा सकता है उसकी विस्कोसिटी को बढ़ाने के लिए. उसमें वनस्पति ऑयल या वनस्पति घी ऐड किया जाता है, यानी कि जिसको हम जनरली डालडा के नाम से जानते हैं. डालडा तो ब्रांड का नेम है, बट जनरली हम वनस्पति को सुनते हैं कि डालडा ही कहते हैं सभी लोग. तो उसको घी में मिला दिया जाता है, जिससे पता नहीं चलता है, लेकिन उसके बहुत हार्मफुल इफेक्ट्स हो सकते हैं. और एंड एवरीबडी हैज अ राइट टू चूज व्हाट दे आर कंज्यूमिंग, सो दे मस्ट नो वेदर the product they are getting to their homes is adulterated or not. So let us check today how we can check for the presence of various adulterants in the fats and oils. We have different samples with us. हमारे पास तेल है, घी है, बटर है. हम इन सब को चेक करेंगे कि उनमें क्या एडल्ट्रेंट हो सकता है या नहीं हो सकता है. So we'll begin with the first one. तो हम देखते हैं हमारा पहला टेस्ट. Our first test is to check for the presence of vanaspati in ghee. So we have with us 2 samples of ghee. We will check whether both of them are adulterated or pure. Let's see what happens. So we begin with the test. We have melted sample. जमा हुआ नहीं चाहिए, हमको melted sample चाहिए. So we have 2 samples with us. इन दोनों में हम हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड डालेंगे इक्वल क्वांटिटी में. जितना सैंपल है उतना ही हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड डालना है, कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड. Isha is adding concentrated sulfuric hydrochloric acid to the sample, and followed by, दोनों samples में डालेंगे, followed by a pinch of sugar, and then we'll observe for the change in color. तो दोनों सैंपल्स में हमने हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड डाल दिया है. अब हम इन दोनों में a pinch of sugar डालेंगे. Very carefully we'll shake them a bit, and we need to leave them for 5 minutes. So we need to observe for the change in color after 5 minutes. We leave them aside, and then we check for the presence of adulterant as per the color guide. We are done with 5 minutes, and we check that which of the two samples is adulterated or not, right? So एक टेस्ट ट्यूब में हम देख रहे हैं सैंपल A में कोई कलर नहीं अपीयर हुआ है, सैंपल B में हमारा क्रिम्सन कलर बहुत डार्क हो गया है, which indicates that it is adulterated with वनस्पति. उसमें हाइड्रोजनेटेड वेजिटेबल ऑयल डाला गया है. तो देखने से हमें नहीं पता चलता कि घी में वनस्पति है या नहीं. ये एक सिंपल टेस्ट से हमें मालूम चल गया है कि इसमें वनस्पति एडेड है. नेक्स्ट adulterant we will be checking, that is starch. Starch can be very comfortably added to ghee and butter like products also. उसमें स्टार्च ऐड कर देते हैं बिकॉज उसमें ऑलरेडी कुछ वेजिटेबल ऑयल डाला होता है. सो टू थिकन इट, उसको गाढ़ा करने के लिए फिर से स्टार्च ऐड कर दिया जाता है. सो अगेन द प्रेजेंस ऑफ स्टार्च कैन बी चेक्ड बाय अ वेरी सिंपल टेस्ट, दैट इज वी ऐड सम आयोडीन. सो वी हैव विद अस 2 samples and we'll check for the presence of starch in them. 2 samples of ghee are here with us. So we add some amount of iodine. Again, the same principle applies. When iodine and starch react, they form a black blue colored complex. In this sample there is no black blue color formation, which means it is not adulterated with starch. Let us check for the second sample. Here we can see little amount of black color in the sample, whereas this particular sample A is absolutely clean. So this black color formation indicates the presence of starch. That means the sample is adulterated with starch. Next we have with us a sample of butter, 2 samples of butter, and we'll check for the presence of vanaspati or margarine in them. Again, it's the similar method. We have already seen how to check for the presence of vanaspati in ghee. बटर में भी वनस्पति बहुत कंफर्टेबली ऐड कर दिया जाता है या मार्जरीन ऐड कर दिया जाता है. वी ऑल हैव सीन न्यूट्रलाइट और स्लिम बटर इन द मार्केट. उसको अगर बटर में ऐड कर दिया जाता है तो देखने से कुछ नहीं पता चलता. तो वही हम चेक करने जा रहे हैं कि अगर वनस्पति एडेड है बटर में या मार्जरीन एडेड है, तो एक सिंपल टेस्ट से जिसमें हम हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड डाल रहे हैं और अ पिंच ऑफ शुगर डाल रहे हैं, तो एक क्रिम्सन रेड कलर अपीयर होता है या नहीं होता है. So let us see, we have already added acid and sugar to one sample. इसमें भी हमारा सैंपल जो है मेल्टेड होना चाहिए, सॉलिड नहीं होना चाहिए, नहीं तो रिएक्शन कंप्लीट नहीं होगा. Again, we need to leave it for 5 minutes, after which we will check for the presence of the adulterant by the appearance of crimson color. After 5 minutes we are checking the samples again. We see that in one sample there is no appearance of crimson color. In the second sample it is a very deep crimson color which has appeared in the lower layer, and this indicates that this sample is adulterated with vanaspati. Now we'll check with the samples of butter whether the samples of butter are adulterated with starch or not. We have done this test earlier also for ghee. We'll now check it with butter by adding iodine solution. So if the sample is adulterated with starch, it will form a black blue colored complex. However, if not, it will be the same. Iodine color brown may or may not appear depending upon the color of the sample. So we can very well see here that this sample of butter is adulterated with starch. It has a very deep, intense black blue color formation. However, this sample is not adulterated. So this is how we can find out by very simple iodine test whether starch is present in butter or not. And the samples must be in molten state. पिघला होना चाहिए, जमा हुआ butter नहीं होना चाहिए. Our next test is the presence of prohibited color in edible oil. कोई भी oil है तो उसमें अगर color डाल दें तो ऐसा लगता है as if it is not refined, as if वो कच्ची घानी का तेल है. And many of the consumers prefer consuming कच्ची घानी oil, and it appears as if it is a pure sample. So when color is added, it is again harmful for the health and it should not be present. We'll now check with the given samples. We have 2 samples of edible oil and we'll check whether adulterant prohibited color is added to it or not. So we add for this again the same amount of concentrated hydrochloric acid as the amount of oil that we have with us. Isha is adding concentrated hydrochloric acid, 5 ml of sample plus 5 ml of concentrated hydrochloric acid, and we leave it aside for 5 minutes, after which we check for the appearance or separation of color in the upper layer of the solution. After 5 minutes, now we check that and we very clearly see that this sample has yellow color separated in the upper layer, which could be metanyl yellow, and it is a prohibited color. However, in this sample it is very cloudy and there is no color separation, it is greenish. However, this one is very clearly yellowish color separated in the upper layer of the solution. Our next test is for coconut oil. Coconut oil यानी कि नारियल के तेल में कोई भी दूसरा तेल मिला दिया जाता है जो कि चीपर होता है, इनएक्सपेंसिव होता है और बहुत हाई कंजम्पशन है कोकोनट ऑयल की इन फूड प्रिपरेशन एंड इट ऑल्सो हैज़ अ नंबर ऑफ इंडस्ट्रियल यूजेस. So adding any other cheaper quality oil to coconut oil cannot be easily detected unless and until you put it in the refrigerator or at any other low temperature and see for the separation. Coconut oil जम जाता है जबकि कोई और तेल नहीं जमेगा. तो यही हम देख रहे हैं इन 2 सैंपल्स में. इस सैंपल में कोई लेयर सेपरेशन नहीं है and it is pure coconut oil. However, if we see sample A, we see that there is a separated layer on the top which is any other edible vegetable oil or could be any other cheaper oil. So this is how by a very simple test of putting the samples at low temperature we get to know whether coconut oil is adulterated with other edible vegetable oil or not.
Thank you. The session is open for Q&A. If you have any questions regarding the test, please put it in the chat box. For tomorrow, we'll be starting at 10 a.m. sharp. The feedback link is shared in the chat box. The session is open for Q&A. If you have any questions, please put in the Q&A box. Hello. I would request everyone to please put your questions in Q&A box. Ma'am, you're on mute. One question is, yes, ma'am. Yes. We are done with the online demo. Yes, I can hear you, ma'am. Yes, one question is, the sugar used is granulated or powdered sugar?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? Hello. Yes.
We are done from here. Is the right demonstration still on from there? Video?
The demo is done. Online demo is done. We are done with the online demonstration. Done.
So can we close it here?
Yes, yes, we can. Can you hear me? The online done. Yes.
फीडबैक फॉर्म डाल दिया था ना सबके लिए और ये वाले बच्चों के लिए feedback
Please fill the feedback form which is shared in the chat box. And tomorrow 10 a.m. Same link. Can we close? You're on mute. Can we close?
Can hear you.
Yeah. Can we close?
Yeah, please, we can close it now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Tomorrow 10 a.m. for online participants.
it is 10 o'clock start.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, we have 10.
Yeah.
10 o'clock started or before that?
We'll have to start the session at about 9:30, 9:45 tomorrow. 9:30,
Okay, sure.
just like
Yes.
we did.
Rajesh ji, we can end the session.